Hey guys, thanks for joining us today at Family Shenanigans, Art, Crafts, and Build. Today we are working on a project that my daughter has been asking for a while. I've been slacking working on it with her. And we're very excited because it actually ended up coinciding with pumpkin season. So we decided to make this fun 3 in a row pumpkin game. And the kids are loving it, and we want to share it with you guys, and we hope that it gives you some inspiration to go out and make something fun for your family or for someone that you know. And I think everyone knows how to play 3 in a row. This is just a quick little game to show you my kids playing the game. They've kind of got a system down now and go pretty fast. And I think by now everyone who's watched us knows that my daughter loves purple, so this mixed berry is the purple, one of the purples that inspired us to do the pumpkin game. And then she also wanted hot orchid, and we're all like really happy about how the color turned out. And it's just the I Love This yarn that we got at our local craft store. And then we used this I Love This yarn. It's this, I believe it's sage, light sage is what it is for the stem. And then today we're going to be working with we want to do a pumpkin color. So we have the same 3 I Love This yarn, and we're going to have this brown for the stem. And then I believe this is burnt orange. Oh, no, burnt pumpkin, I'm sorry. And then this is the same light sage that we were already using because we really liked the green color. Okay, and we just have some of this extra white yarn. I think it's just a cotton yarn, and we're just going to go ahead and start it by doing our first 5 rows. And I prefer using the white because it has a nice bright contrasting color, so that when we bind off the ends of our rows, it'll be easier to do the final sewing, and you'll see as we go on. But you can use pretty much any kind of yarn just as a salvage yarn. To cast on is really easy. All you have to do is go in front of the first black key and then behind that key, and then you kind of weave the same pattern all the way around in front, then behind, and front, and then behind. And it's pretty easy and quick process. So we're just going to go ahead and bind on here, and then we're going to go only 5 rows. So you're going to go around 4 rows, and then like your last one you're going to slow down so that you can stop when it turns at the 5. And then that's going to be the one where we start our actual pattern rows, because this is just the salvage yarn for when we bind off in the end. So we're getting close to almost completing our rows now. We're about to see that it's changing, and that's our 4th row there. We're moving into like our 5th row. But as you can see here, the key is saying 4. But when it hits that black, it's going to switch over to the 5. So we know now this is where we want to change our thread. And we're going to go ahead and change it to the burnt pumpkin, because on the board, the checkers, there's like 5 of one color and then 4 of another color. And since we want the pumpkin color to be more dominant than the green color, we're going to go ahead and use the burnt pumpkin. And then you don't have to tie a knot because we're going to be taking that extra yarn off. So in this spot, we are not tying a knot. And since we want each section to be about 40 rows, we're going to go ahead and go around. And on the keyboard, since we put 5 salvage rows on, we're going to have to go to 45. So just before it switches over to 45, we're going to stop. So we've gone about 43 rows, and we're going to hit this black one here at 44, and you can see there 44. And I like to slow down on my last one because I don't want to pass the next black one, because we've gone 5 white salvage and now 40 rows of the burnt pumpkin. And we want to stop and change it out to the light sage green now. So right here we stopped, and it's flipped over to 45. And now we're just going to add in this light sage here, and I'm just going to hold it for just a few keys here, and then I'm going to go ahead and just tie down the knots. And I think this time I'm just going to tie it tight all at once. So I'm just going to put 3 knots in here. And then now we're going to go another 40 rows because we want the light sage to be 40 rows. And so it'll be a total, we're going to stop at 85. So we'd had 5 white salvage, 40 burnt pumpkin, and then we'll have 40 light sage, and then we'll stop and switch back to the burnt pumpkin. And now that we're at the 85 rows, we're going to go ahead and change out back to our burnt orange. And then we're going to go another 40 rows. So it's going to be a total of 125 rows. So you're going to have 5 salvage, 40 burnt, and then 40 light sage, and then another 40 of the burnt pumpkin again. And that'll be a total of 125 rows. And as we go back to the salvage yarn, this time we are not knotting it. So when we changed to the light sage and when we changed to the burnt pumpkin, we did a knot because we wanted to permanently attach. We're not permanently attaching this. So we're just going to kind of like leave it on. And then we're going to go another 5 rows for a total of 130 rows. So we had 5 salvage to begin with, 40 burnt pumpkin, 40 light sage, 40 burnt pumpkin again, and now 5 more salvage. I just want to mention here too that it's important to leave a long string when you move to the salvage yarn. That way you have it for sewing at the end, but if you cut it short, it's okay. You can always add more yarn to help you to sew in the ends. And we're getting close to the end here. We've gone a total of 130 rows. That includes our salvage yarns too. And we do not bind this off like normal sewing off. We're just going to go ahead and just kind of let it roll around until it pulls itself naturally off from the side, because we're not really worried about it staying connected because the salvage yarn is going to come off when we sew it together. And now that we have the one swath, we're going to go ahead and make 2 identical swaths. And then for the last third one, it's going to be different. You're going to start with the light sage, do 40 rows of light sage, then 40 rows of burnt pumpkin, and then 40 rows of the light sage again. So only one will be different from the other 2. And how I like to sew in the ends, sew the ends together is I like to go ahead and start at the side where the last bind off there was, it would have ended at the row. And then I like to look for the first stitch right next to it. And I'm using a 5mm crochet hook. And I'm going to go ahead and add that to my hook and move the white out of my way because I don't want that in the way. And then I'm going to go back into the one with the string that ended the rows. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to slip stitch through there. And then I'm going to follow that same pattern. I'm going to go and pick 1 stitch on the one side here. And I'm going to put my needle through it. And then I'm going to go exactly across and find the stitch exactly across from it. Right there. And then I'm going to put that one on my needle as well. And then I'm going to use the string to slip stitch and make a slip stitch there. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the next 2. On the one side, I'm going to find the stitch, the next stitch, and then the one across from it, I'm going to add to the crochet hook as well. And then I'm going to use the string to slip stitch through that. And then I'm going to go again. I'm going to, on the one side closest to me, I'm going to grab the stitch, and then the one across from it, I'm going to grab, and then I'm going to slip stitch again. And then I'm going to go in to the one closest to me. I'm having a little trouble. Excuse our camera today. We're having a little camera trouble too. And then I'm going to go across that one, and then I'm going to slip stitch again. And then you can see I have a row of slip stitch at the end. And I'm just going to continue across all the way until we get to the end, and then we'll show you how we finish it. And this last stitch, we're just going to pull the yarn all the way through, And then there you have our completed stitches. And then now I just like to cut the salvage yarn away. That I know sometimes it gets stuck when you're pulling it apart, and sometimes it kind of pulls on the fabric. So for me, I don't really care about the salvage yarn. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it all away, and that's how I finish it off. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do all the rest of my ends, and then we'll show you how we put it all together. Once all the salvage yarn is removed, I like to go ahead and sew in the yarn piece here, and that way it's out of my way. I don't have to worry about it when I'm going to sew the 3 pieces together, so I don't like all the yarn hanging out, so I'm going to go ahead and do that for each side, and then I'll meet you guys back. We finished all of our game mat pieces, and we've kind of laid them out here. We have 2 that are the exact same on the outside, and then the 1 that's different on the inside. And then now we're just going to go ahead and begin sewing them all up. Okay, working with just 2 pieces at a time, we're going to go ahead and sew it together with this 5mm crochet hook. Okay, so we're just going to begin by picking up the first stitch here on the end, and we go in from the top, and then we're going to go into this other side, and we're going in from the top as well. And then I'm just going to go ahead and slip stitch my yarn on. And then I'm going to go into the next stitch from the top, going in from the top, and I'm going to pick up a stitch. And then I'm going to go across to the other side and pick up a stitch as well. And then I'm going to slip stitch. And I'm just going to pull it all the way through. And then I'm going to go in the same way. I'm going to look for the stitch right next to it and just pick up 1 there through the top. And then I'm going to go to the other side and pick up 1. And I like to keep my string in front of me for the slip stitching. And now I'm just going to grab the yarn and, oops, my bad. And slip stitch it through there. And then I'm just going to continue that pattern. I'm going to go in from the top on the 1 stitch there and then right across, and making sure I stay in the same row and the same line as the stitches I've been working on before. And then find the next stitch and go in from the front, and then from the front, then slip stitch again. And then I'm just going to continue this pattern all the way until I get the end. And we'll kind of show you what it looks like when we're done. And then I do both sides the same way, so I use the same stitch. So we're going to just continue slip stitching. It does take a little while on this part. It's a little bit slower than all the other parts, but totally worth it. And we'll meet you back when it's done. And then we'll go ahead and work on the pumpkin. So excited, the board is all finished sewed, and this is kind of what it looks like when it's all sewn up. And now all we have to do is to work on the pumpkins, and we'll show you how we make our pumpkins. To sew the pumpkins, you just cast on like you would and sew a swath of 44 rows. And if you need more detailed instructions on how to knit the pumpkins, you can check out one of our other pumpkin videos, and they have a little bit more detailed. So we're all done now. This is our 44 row swath to make our pumpkin, and we're just going to go ahead and close up one side of the pumpkin. And I like to do that by just taking the needle and doing a few stitches around as you go, just at the very top there. And as you do it, it will slowly start to close up and make the hole smaller and tighter. And it doesn't take too many stitches, just a few stitches until it's all nice and tight and closed. My kids have really loved this project, and they have loved playing the games with each other. And I think we have plans to make some more and give them to our local shelter. So we hope that this inspires you guys to do that as well, to give some away. And okay, once our one side is done, we can go ahead and start stuffing our swath here for our little pumpkin, and it doesn't take too long to stuff it. And then we're just going to go ahead and close up the top hole just like we did before, with just a few stitches around to make sure it's nice and tight and closed. And if you guys are enjoying this video, or if you enjoy this pattern, please think about giving us a like, a share, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss out on any of our future patterns. And also, if you can give us a share with your friends and let them know, because we would really love to see this game out and about in the community, and maybe a lot of kids would really enjoy playing it and having, especially in the times that we live in with all the different things going on, it's kind of nice just to forget and, you know, play a game, celebrate the fall weather that's coming up. And now I'm just going to go ahead and finish sewing this up, and then we're going to show you how to make the little pumpkin sides. Okay, and now we're just going to go ahead and sew the sides. What we do is we go ahead and take it all the way around to the back, and then I sew it with the needle through all the way through the center, directly through the center. And then I pull that side down nice and tight, and then I go directly across from the last one that I did all the way to the back, and then I pull that one through. So it's like dividing it in half. There's like two sections now. And then I half one of the two sections there, and I go all the way around to the back, back through the front. And then whatever I do on the one side, I do directly on the other side. So I go into the other half of the original two portions that I had, so that now I have 4 portions all together. And now I'm just going to go into one of the quarters. And so basically we're going to turn the 4 quarters into 8s. So we should have 8 sections. So we took that quarter and turned it into 2. And now we're going to take another quarter and we're going to turn that into another 2. So we'll have 4 now all together. And then we're going to move over here to this other side. We're adding 2 more. So now we have 6, and then for our final one, we're going to go in that final quarter there, and now we will have an added 2, which will be 8. So we'll have 8 sections all together. And then it's just really simple. We're just going to tie a knot and tie it off and tie it all together. And then I'll show you how we do the stem. Using a 5mm crochet hook, we're going to go ahead and make a loop. And then we're going to slip stitch through that loop there. And then we're going to make a chain of 20 stitches. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 stitches there for the chain. And now going into the second one there, we're going to grab on, we have 2 loops, and then we're going to pull through for a single crochet, and then we're going to go into the next stitch and do the same exact thing. And we're going to be single crocheting all the way along in each chain stitch here. So you go in, pull a loop, and then pull through 2 loops. And then you can see as you're working, it's already starting to kind of curl a little bit. And that's because we're doing our stitches kind of tight. So you don't want to do them loose. You want to do them kind of tight so that it naturally curls on its own. And we're all done. This is our last stitch. And on our last stitch, we just go ahead and cut the string, and then you just pull it through. And then you can see how it just kind of naturally curled on its own. And then you just attach it to the pumpkin and you're done. And we hope you guys enjoyed this video. We hope you enjoy this game. And we hope you have a wonderful fall season. And we hope you also maybe think about sharing with someone in the community or someone that's a friend or someone you love.